The World Health Organization says a total of 18 suspected cases of Ebola have been reported in the Democratic Republic of Congo. There have also been 2 confirmed cases of Ebola and 3 deaths. The dead includes a 39-year-old man identified as a patient 0 in preliminary investigations and 2 others who had close contact with him. The WHO adds that its risk assessment is high at the national level, medium at the regional level and low at the international level. A global health body declared an Ebola outbreak in DR Congo last week. More than 11,000 people died in the outbreak in West Africa between 2014 to 2015, mainly in Guinea, Sierra Leone and Liberia. And still in Democratic Republic of Congo, where officials say a police officer and at least 5 attackers were killed in yesterday's raid on the main prison in the capital, Kinshasa. The government says that supporters of jailed sect leaders Mwanda Nsemi attacked the prison and freed him. However, the Bundu DR Congo movement has told local media that the group had no involvement in the attack and that the whereabouts of Mr. Nsemi, their spiritual leader, are unknown. Security sources say up to 3,000 prisoners are believed to have escaped during the attack, but the authorities say only about 50 prisoners got away. Meanwhile, a newly appointed cabinet has been sworn into office in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and that's despite the country's main opposition calling it illegitimate. Analysts say the country's political crisis could deepen following Congo's Electoral Commission saying last weekend that a presidential election slated for late this year to choose a successor to President Joseph Kabila could be delayed because of the persistent militia violence in central Congo.
The Democratic Republic of Congo's newly appointed cabinet under Prime Minister Bruno Tshibala took the oath of office on Tuesday, May the 16th, but was met with jeers from opposition members who have rejected the new cabinet. Opposition members say the National Government of Unity undermines a previous agreement. President Joseph Kabila, in power since 2001, struck a deal in December with Congo's main opposition bloc to stay on after his mandate expired, provided he held elections by the end of 2017. But talks to implement the deal broke down in March when Kabila refused to commit to the bloc's choice of prime minister. Despite the show of disapproval from the opposition, Mr. Tshibala says he is now committed to work with all for the benefit of the country. The immediate actions of this government of national unity are deeply entrenched in the political accord of December 31st, 2016 and its term. The 4 main points of action for the new government will be: 1. To organize credible, free, transparent and peaceful elections, free at the agreed date. Number 2 will be to end the downfall of the country's economy. Number 3 will be to improve living conditions for the population. And then 4 will be to improve security throughout the country. But political tensions remain in the country. President Joseph Kabila's opponents suspect he intends to repeatedly delay elections until he can organize a referendum to let himself stand for a 3rd term, as his counterparts in neighboring Congo Republic and Rwanda have done. But the president denies those accusations, saying the election delays are due to challenges registering millions of voters and budgetary constraints. Meanwhile, the president of Congo's Electoral Commission, Corneille Nangaa, says that the country's elections could be delayed because of persistent militia violence in central Congo. Elections must take place, but not just anyhow. If we organize the election hastily without preparing what is necessary, because we must stick to the date, we risk having non-credible elections, and that will probably lead to violence that we saw recently. An insurrection in the Kasai region that first began last July has caused hundreds of deaths and even displaced more than 1 million people, with thousands fleeing into neighboring Angola. However, many analysts say further delays could rekindle violent anti-Kabila protests that resulted in dozens of deaths last year. Conflicts in Congo between 1996 to 2003, mostly in the east, caused the deaths of millions of people. Dozens of armed groups continue to fight over natural resources and prey on the civilian population in the country.
The U.S. government has approved plans to give Tanzania $526 million over the coming year to combat HIV/AIDS. The U.S. Embassy in Dar es Salaam says the aid will bring the number of Tanzanians on HIV treatment to up to 1.2 million. The embassy also says that the ultimate goal is to completely eliminate AIDS in the country by 2030. Some 1.4 million Tanzanians are estimated to be living with HIV in the nation of around 50 million people, with about 850,000 of them currently on antiretrovirals. The funds will also support the care and treatment of orphans and vulnerable children and voluntary medical male circumcision to further prevent HIV transmission. The World Bank has given Botswana a $145.5 million loan to build water projects after it suffered a severe El Nino-induced drought in the past 2 years. In 2015, overall dam levels in the semi-arid southern African nation fell below 20% of their design capacity during the country's worst drought in more than 3 decades, and groundwater sources dried up or became saline. In a statement issued today, Finance Minister Kenneth Matambo says that the loan will partly finance the Botswana Emergency Water Security and Efficiency Project, estimated at $160 million. The remaining $14.5 million will be contributed by Botswana from domestic resources. In addition to mitigating drought impacts, the project will include waste management, wastewater treatment, and prevent pollution of vital downstream water resources. Finally, on the program, a trendy cafe in the heart of Cairo known as the Bikers Joint is attracting biking enthusiasts from across Egypt. The bikers can drive their motorcycles straight to their table before ordering their food.
Motorcyclists in Cairo have taken to hanging out at a cafe where they can ride straight through the front door and get a bit of the love they feel is lacking for bikes and bikers on the streets of their city. The Bikers Joint in Zamalek, a fashionable district of the Egyptian capital, allows riders to grab some refreshment while mechanics check over their bikes.
I thought about it, where you can take your motorcycle and park it next to your table. We take the bike and put it through maintenance or a cleanup. It depends on what you want to do. When you're waiting for your motorcycle, you can drink or eat something or play some Xbox.
The bikers themselves say other road users often don't understand them and see their powerful machines as a noisy nuisance. There's also an effort to encourage more women to ride, something unusual in Egypt. The idea is very convenient to females and males alike. One is sitting comfortably and is not subject to harassment from people or those who are fixing the bike. The community is a closed one and we all help each other and get to know one another. Analysts say one of the reasons why the motorcycle scene grew rapidly is because of the amount of freedom riders get when they're on the bike. Also, the increasing number of cars in the big cities like Cairo and Alexandria is another factor.
Well, that's Network Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Jackie Rogers.